Okay, so you're going to pay attention to the pattern of conduct as I walk downstairs from my apartment to my leasing office, which is located adjacent to 1810 North Alvarado Street. You see Center for Better Life, a violent sex offender, monitoring while that impossible light activity is in the depths of my apartment, while the light source is outside of the front of the apartment, which is not even an explanation for the engineered light that's in the living room. Nonetheless, you're looking at the engineered light that's on the ceilings in both of my bedrooms and the back portion of the apartment. Center for Better Life is a sex offender, a violent one, and a repeat sex offender who is acting with impunity, showing that ongoing desperation and desire to not only sexually offend, but also sexually violate. They're monitoring documentation, and so does the LAPD, who flies directly over my head, over my office, while the light source moves from its position that it's remained for the past 48 hours outside of my living room window to maintain perfect alignment with me while I go down to 1810, and they fly directly over me while I'm documenting the demon-possessed, this violent sex offender. Her name is 1810 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4, Ty M. This is a third party engaged in criminal facilitation, group stalking and monitoring, engaging in sexual violence. That is surveillance with Center for Better Life, which is LA County. The entity acting directly, coming, engaging in repeated acts. We've already seen these demons come in those vehicles. It's nothing other than the use of a logo, and impossible light moves all over the building of 1818 and 1816. That is what the entity is surrounding inside of my apartment. It's engineered light that's above my head that you're seeing at all hours of the day. Those are demons that are then stalking in the path outside, covering surfaces with engineered light. This is what LA County came to engage in and repeat. And they are engaged in surveillance, waiting for me to come downstairs so that they can engage in the pattern. This is how pathetic, all right? But this is the center of the universe that the target individual actually is to the entity, seeking to engage in something that they think is going to torment, bother, torture, harass. But I want to be clear, under the law, that's exactly what it is. The driver of Center for Better Life's vehicle is going to federal prison. He's a violent sex offender, and that's exactly what a group stalker is. And I want to be clear, Ty Yim of 1810 number 4, a repeat offender. She's also a sex offender living at the venue. She's a terrorist acting with LAPD. She's also criminally facilitating, acting with the entity that comes to the grounds to engage in the pattern of conduct along with her. The fact that she is on a walker is nothing other than a tool that will be provided to her in federal prison. All right. She's a violent sex offender, and she is equally demon possessed. Understand that. She is engaging in the pattern of conduct with all of the entity that you are seeing engaging in surveillance in the laundry room. That's the sex offender, June Kim, who is a repeat sex offender, by the way. She's living in relevant position. She's going to federal prison. Her and her son are then to be deported out of this country, going back to Korea, where they came from. If they're monitoring they're monitoring citizens in that country, they're welcome to go back there, but they're not welcome in this country. You're looking at an iteration of terrorism as I walk downstairs, and that is the ambush conduct by the demon possessed who are acting together as one. And you're remembering the light on my ceilings inside of my bedrooms while I'm documenting that. That's the entity that engages in that demonic acts, seeking to engage in what is ambush attacks while they're monitoring you, and they're hostile. They're hostile demons that are doing so because you're documenting it. Those are demons flying helicopters. That's the LAPD. That's the public safety concern. Okay, they are in positions bearing weapons, in positions exercising fictitious authority, kidnapping American citizens, engaging in criminal summoning, exercising fictitious authority with these courts where there is no son that's going to be present at 9:42 a.m. as I've already documented at the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court. Okay, this is all of the pattern of conduct. And while they're monitoring documentation, that is LA County engaged in federal stalking. That's LA County to be documented engaging in a sex offense. That's what federal group stalking and monitoring is. And it is the direct evidence while you're looking at the engineered light in my bedroom. And what am I doing when you're looking at that engineered light? I am nude. And the entity keeping me under surveillance knows that. The sex offender that also knows that you're documenting it engages in that conduct, just like you saw as they engage in the P.O.C. as I walk downstairs, hostile to the documentation. They know when you're nude, and they'll engage in stalking with light. They'll engage in stalking via helicopter so that you can perceive their presence, so that you can perceive their ongoing engagement to sexually offend, to terrorize, to horrify, to torment. That's the purpose of the demon possessed. All of them are subject to what is federal prison, and that's exactly what June Kim and Ty Yim of 1810 number 4 and June Kim of 1806 number 5 demonstrate. I also want to be clear, group stalking in the parking lot was Susana Martinez's niece. This underage, I will refrain from name calling only because she's underage, but I want to be clear, that's a demon. She knows exactly what she's doing. With regard to the knowledge, the significance of her being in the path, in the environment, and the fact that she's specifically documented, and she repeatedly engages in that. This is demonic activity affecting acting over a third party that is underage. This is also the public safety concern where you have corrupt and demon-possessed agencies engaging in this system, engaging in criminal conduct of a federal nature with those under the age of majority. The entity is doing that with the whole community, the people of the state. Okay, and that is the infection that the demon-possessed are. It does create a very real public safety concern, and that's also why you're removing the minor children from the possession, from the custody of the people of the state, and you are disbanding such corrupt agencies such as LAPD, all right, equally demonstrated by the Fontana PD, because today, in 2022, the light source, while it remains here over me, that is speaking to the pattern of conduct while this demon-possessed and highly corrupt entity engaged in summoning itself to the facilitating venue while they were monitoring, being sex offenders just like they are today, violent sex offenders, engaging in what is bathroom monitoring, and doing so, and then hostile to the fact that they're violent sex offenders. This is a psychopath that is angry because you are enforcing your rights to not be subject to sexual violence by a whole population that is entirely demented, creating a public safety concern. They are engaging in sexual violence at Fontana Lewis Library. The light source is over that venue as I capture it at Fontana Metrolink train station at 9 in the morning. It's 8:47 in the morning. The light source is not going in here. It's rising and setting here. The light source that is outside of my window, remaining over me for the duration of the day until I get off at 5, and then going back to being in alignment to my bedroom window where it is then setting, being present for 11 plus hours, is not the sun that's over the Fontana Lewis Library, and which is why the sex offender that is Stephanie Ortiz, she's going to federal prison. The entity engaging in criminal summoning, that is the Fontana Police Department. There's no sun that's going to be over them, and it's anybody's, and it's zenith over anyone, let alone me, as I documented at 1:45 in the afternoon this day in 2022. That is documenting the sex offenders flying over my head, engaging in what is arriving to communicate a threat again, and doing so with knowledge of the fact that they're being documented. And this is all that the demon-possessed population do. They repeat that act. They engage in more of it. They surround you with more of their demonic light for purposes of communicating a threat while obsessively stalking and monitoring you. That's the sex offender. And this is going back to what's going on at the courts, to what's going on amongst the sheriff's departments. There's no sun that's going to be over 101 South Main Street, Suite D at 9:03 a.m. The light source is staying here at 9:03 a.m. because the demon-possessed were exposed on that day on March 22nd. That is the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and the people of the state obsessively maintaining presence, acting with hostility, the futile attempt. You're not retaliating against anything. You're exposing the fact that you are psychotic and obsessed and entirely engaged in stalking, flying directly over my head while I just happen to be a person that's documenting the fact that I am remaining subject to a pattern of conduct, and you're looking at this engineered light that's appearing on my ceiling. You have too many phenomenons that are occurring, and that's speaking to what is the pattern of conduct, and that's occurring while federal stalking is also underway, and that's exactly what the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is engaged in. That's exactly what LA County is engaged in, what Joan Kim and Ty Yim are engaged in, surrounding me in relevant position, including that minor who's crossing path in the specific environment, and she is affiliated with Susana Martinez. They're engaged in federal stalking online via communication devices with the state for purposes of keeping one under surveillance. Also, where the fact that you're documenting, that is also relevant to the intent to keep one under surveillance and create what is emotional distress. I'm referencing the language of Title 18 right now. And that's exactly what you're doing as a state that's engaged in group stalking and also monitoring online. It is currently 8:50 a.m. and this is P.O.C. Understand that ambush attack by the demon-possessed population who are being documented and they're monitoring the documentation. That's the behavior that they engage in. So you are understanding the public safety concern where this is widespread information, common knowledge, and you have a demon-possessed population that are exacting revenge, ambush-like attacks against American citizens when this is full-blown knowledge, okay, amongst corrupt police departments. And so I'm just stating, not to incite fear, but this is a reality of what the entity is doing against. I'm one person and I'm documenting and exposing it. This is that which is occurring and the potential to occur against a people. And I'm referencing those that are not of the people of the state. You have this demon-possessed population engaging in this level of ambush attacks, engaging in terrorism, and you're talking about what is the threat to American citizens where this is exposed widespread. Where this public corruption is exposed widespread, all right? It is a direct threat to your safety and your life wherever you are at, as I'm exposing it today where I'm at. It's 8:51 a.m. This is workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence in the workplace, and this is underway by the entire entity. LA County is indeed engaged in what is workplace terrorism, violence, harassment, and sexual violence. While they are the entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, it's now just occurring while I'm on the job, and you're going to prosecute that entity for engaging in that criminal act. the ambush attack that you just saw as I walked downstairs, okay? And the light source that's remaining over my head as I'm walking down the staircase, and I'm able to capture it, that engineered light that's reaching into the depths of a staircase, the light source is directly over my head as I'm taking a picture of that light source, and then you're going to juxtapose that with what's supposed to be the sun at 9:42 and 10:29 over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, the light source that's going to be over the San Bernardino Superior Court at 12:47 in the afternoon, and also the light source that's over the Fontana Lewis Library, over the Fontana Metrolink train station, and that's minutes from now. When you're looking at that level of presence with this light source and the stalking conduct by this highly demented entity. Okay, this is P.O.C. and it's also understanding why they are subject to what are mental examinations. The violent sexual acts that the entity perpetrates against the target individual, the terrorizing behavior that they engage in as one. This is what demons do. They act in packs. They also engage in what is exacting criminal acts against the one who is enforcing their rights, and they do this by abusing the positions that they're currently holding. This is pursuant to criminal defamation, the demon possessed that are in the medical field. This is pursuant to what is exercising fictitious authority. The demons that are in the courts. This is exercise to fictitious authority via kidnapping as an entity and literally making up charges, while making up information while they're keeping you under surveillance and monitoring you. These are the demons of the of the police departments and the sheriff's departments. LAPD and LA Sheriff's Department are nothing other than the template whereby you're understanding what the whole state at large is engaging in. Okay, it is currently again 8:53 a.m. and this is POC.